Hey Luke, have you heard the suggestion for a potential new James Bond?
What's the suggestion, Michael?
One, fantabulous Margot Robbie.
What? Where'd you get this from?
I actually can't remember. I saw it on Reddit, and it was posted in a critical context. But you know, actually, I might find it just because I think it'll be funny.
Well, I think it is funny because, okay, number one, she's of course a woman, which would be controversial, but also she's Australian, so that can't happen. You know, I know they're part of the Commonwealth and all, but you know, it's got to be a British actor. At least if you have to have a woman play James Bond, let it be a British woman. Let it be a Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah,
That's let her be. No, actually, she's writing the new James Bond. Or is she? I think she is. Yeah, she was writing it, so that'd be fun if she was James Bond. But yeah. I don't think Margot Robbie is going to be the next James Bond, unfortunately. But I tell you what's been really fun: politicians having to answer questions on, do you think the new James Bond should be a woman?
Yes.
Boris Johnson said no, he doesn't think so. But Keir Starmer said yes, he does
what
think
a twat.
So. So there you go. Keir Starmer is the progressive choice. Anyone who wants to, see women's rights increase in this country, and just progress in general, Keir Starmer is your guy, because he said, a woman should play James Bond. Of all the shit he's done, like in this last week with the Labour conference, that might be the thing that loses him the most votes, honestly.
That actually, is genuinely true. But by the way, I also found out, so I did find my source. It's actually Men's Health is the most recent one, but from The Independent, George Lazenby wants Margot Robbie, and he really got to grips with the franchise in the one film he starred in. Thanks, George Lazenby. I'm sure everyone will fucking listen to you.
Okay, yeah, I know, but this is how we can convince British men, or men in general, I guess. What if, James Bond, a woman? No, he can't be a woman. What if, he's this James Bond character, Jane Bond, is still a womanizer, and she's a lesbian.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
All of a sudden, the opinion polls do a 180. All of a sudden, let's have a female James Bond.
Oh, no. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past, we give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke, and this week we are celebrating the 50-year, I got it right this time, anniversary of Diamonds Are Forever. I was trying to do it to like the theme of Goldfinger, which didn't go as well as I planned, but I went for it, and I think that's the kind of innovative thinking we need on this podcast. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Diamonds Are Forever?
Why don't you do it to the tune of Diamonds Are Forever?
Because I thought it would be funny if I did, because you'd expect me to. The thing is, what I realized about halfway through is that Goldfinger sounds a little bit like the tune sounds a little bit like Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay,
Goldfinger.
See, I wasn't thinking that way. No, that's clever. That's really funny.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
when the diamonds are for. See, here's the thing. I was trying to do Skyfall. It's really difficult, especially when you can't sing in tune.
Diamonds are forever. Okay, so Diamonds Are Forever is a 1971 spy film, the seventh in the James Bond series, produced by Eon Productions. It is the sixth and final Eon film to star Sean Connery, who returned to the role as the fictional MI6 agent James Bond, having declined to reprise the role in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which came out in 1969. So, there are two reasons why we're doing this movie. Reason number one...
Rest in peace, Sean Connery.
Actually, you know what? That could be a third reason.
There we go.
Sean Connery's dead. But, he died... when did he die? Died a while ago, I think. I think it was last year. But anyway, Sean Connery, this is his last James Bond movie, Diamonds Are Forever. And, of course, No Time to Die, which is why we're doing this movie. Or why we're doing this movie now. So, of course, Daniel Craig, that is his last James Bond movie, No Time to Die. This is Sean Connery's last James Bond movie, so got a nice bit of parallels going on there. And also, it's the 50-year anniversary of Diamonds of Forever. It was released in 1971, like I said, so that's 50 years. So isn't that nice how things somehow work together? The last ever Sean Connery movie, the last ever Daniel Craig movie, they come out 50 years apart. So that's why we're doing Diamonds Are Forever today. Basically, Michael, Sean Connery, of course, the original Bond, the OG Bond. I think probably Daniel Craig. Would you say he's number 2 on the list of most famous Bonds? Maybe just because he's the most recent.
Yeah, certainly I think it's between Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan for 2 and 3. And then
not Roger Daltrey.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, then Roger Moore in 4. And then, I almost feel like George Lazenby, even though he was only in the one film, I feel like he's more famous than the guy who I can't even remember how his name's pronounced. Roger, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that's it because he was just in the one film.
Oh, actually, also it's worth noting that the I was looking at like the Rotten Tomatoes ratings for the James Bonds because I was kind of wondering like how good are they kind of considered as like a collective, and I found out.
Sorry, going back to the cold open. Did you say that George Lazenby wanted Margot Robbie to play? That was his. So I just look at George Lazenby's Australian.
Oh, what a twist!
No, maybe people thought I was joking. Was that you can't have an Australian?
Yeah, it's actually really funny. To be honest, actually,
I didn't know he was Australian.
That's actually really funny because, to be honest, like my stance has always been like, obviously, you know, I don't really care about James Bond's kind of race or anything like that. I do think him being a woman is stupid, but yeah, like when I've seen people suggest like any American actor, I've just been like, no, James Bond has to be British. Like that's his thing. And yeah, to be honest, actually finding out that there was an Australian James Bond.
So that's why he wants Margot Robbie because she's also, of course, Australian. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah. Why can't we have Jai Courtney? For James Bond, we all
fucking Jai Courtney, yeah. Damn it! The fucking Aussies, man.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say, just for the record, is that
I think we should have known
1980s
that.
Roger Daltrey ones or whatever are actually like kind of the worst rated. They're like rated in the 50s on Rotten Tomatoes. So
yeah,
James Bond was crap in the 80s too.
Okay, well, we'll get into that in a bit, but yeah, basically, yeah, I think we should have probably known that there's one James Bond and he was Australian. But anyway, that's I guess. Well, we've embarrassed ourselves. Thing is, there's a guy who presents Formula One called Simon Lazenby. And he's British. So it never occurred to me that he was Australian. But anyway, let's get into Diamonds Are Forever, Michael. So the movie stars Sean Connery, of course. By the way, it's based on Diamonds Are Forever by Ian Fleming. This was actually a novel, directed by Guy Hamilton. Screenplay by Tom Mankiewicz. Interestingly, stars Sean Connery, Jill St. John, Charles Gray, Lana Wood. That is not
like a sex name. I get you.
That's someone's actual
name. It's not
name.
a pussy galore.
Yes, Jimmy Dean and Bruce Cabot. It was released in 1971 on the 30th of December in the UK, but on the 17th of December in the United States, and on the 14th in West Germany. I don't know why, but it was. So yeah, we're a bit off the 50-year anniversary, but No Time to Die, we had to review it around now.
Yeah. No time to wait around to review this film.
Exactly. Can you tell me what the budget was for Diamonds Are Forever?
3 million.
7.2.
Okay, that was like 50%, but it was only 3 million out, which in some contexts would be a good. Well, sorry, it was only 4 million. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I know about that.
Can you tell me what the box office was?
250. No, slightly more. Let's say 300 million.
What? Why would it be slightly more?
I was thinking that these films. Okay, so I was thinking that these films were like consistently just good films at the box office, and
that would be good for like now. 1971. Do you think a movie would gross 300 million?
I mean, See, the thing is, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I can't really remember how much Citizen Kane grossed, but I'm thinking like this is 30 years later.
Citizen Kane was like 1.6 million.
Oh yeah, okay, so like 30 years later, gets you up to. I mean, you say like 300 million is a lot, but I would assume surely this grossed like around 200 million.
116.
It seems like not very much to me.
Fuck off. Not very much. It seems like not very much. No, you're just so wrong, like usual. Like you always are. Because the thing is, you think of how much money they made back. A 7.2 million budget, 116 million box office return. Like that is massive.
That's
a
pretty good percentage.
The equivalent today of like a movie which costs like $70 million and rates in like $1 billion. So, and you'd say, yeah, you know what, that's pretty damn good, isn't it? And it probably was back in the day as well. So, Michael, Diamonds Are Forever. Did you like this movie?
I would say overall, this film was good. I mean, it was pretty silly, but it didn't really annoy me. It certainly wasn't like fantastic. Like I'm not like sat there like, oh wow, these James Bond films. I mean, these were a real gem that the modern generation is missing or something. But I would say it was veritably serviceable.
Yeah, I laughed like, oh, they used to make movies back in the good old days, or better movies back in the good old days. And then you just watch this movie and it's just like, I mean, it's fine. It's fine, but it isn't great. Interesting you say a lot of the Bond movies from the 80s aren't rated that highly.
Well, yeah. I don't know, because I remember I watched Octopussy, because it was called Octopussy, and I was pretty hooked on it, but I can't actually remember if I thought it was good. I just remember I didn't get bored.
Yeah, I think this one is close to a standard James Bond movie. Close, it almost hits all of the tropes. And yeah, obviously you've got Sean Connery in there. Well, a lot of people, like, this movie is kind of dismissed as one of the bad Sean Connery Bond movies, or one of the more forgettable Bond movies. And you've got the whole thing about it's quite wacky in some instances. Other times it's just quite like standard James Bond stuff. So yeah, it's you would think we wouldn't have much to say about it really if we compare it to other James Bond movies, but we've still got quite a bit to say. I feel like interestingly, like someone I'll go down. I think it's IGN. Retrospective review said it was the third worst Bond movie ever.
Oh, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, IGN chose it as the third worst Bond movie, behind only The Man with the Golden Gun and Die Another Day.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I'll tell you what, actually, so I'll reveal this now. I actually watched, so I figured, in the run-up to this, I was like, well, I've got a decent run-up to this. I watched like a few of the older James Bond films, like before this film. So I watched, I think, the first 4, canonically, and I actually rated all of those a 5 out of 10. Principally because I said I didn't find this film annoying. I actually found those films more annoying because there were like more stupid moments in terms of like James Bond getting caught in stupid ways or James Bond escaping situations in stupid ways. Like the amount of times and it happens in this film too, and it annoyed me then, but like the number of times in like the first films, it's like he'll get caught in the dumbest way and then he'll escape because at like the last minute somebody just decides to turn off the like razor claw machine or something, and he's like, oh, that was a lucky escape. And it's like, yeah, why do you get these like 10 times every film? So yeah, with that said, I don't think any of these films were that great.
No, yeah,
nostalgia's gay.
Yeah, no, I think it is an element of nostalgia which props these movies up. But again, I wasn't like I could watch this and it was fine.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there are some aspects which I do like, but some aspects that frustrate me. But not more than any other like modern movie. But anyway, let's get into nitpicks. How many did you have, Michael?
Believe it or not, I only have one. But I think, like I said, some of the stuff which maybe I would have called a nitpick in other films, I think annoys me slightly more in these films. But yeah, it's only one.
Okay, well, I've got 5.
Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, my one also is like really, it's just that fake elephant looks pretty dumb, doesn't it?
That's your one. The fake elephant looks dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. So mine, okay, this one is, see, the thing is, I noticed this, and I don't know if it was an issue with the film I was watching, where it came from, but at the very start, so there's this guy, Sir Donald Munger, who is the diamond expert who brings the case to MI6, and he's explaining the situation, with diamonds in South Africa to James Bond, and he says the whole process from start to finish operates under an airtight security system. It's an essential precaution, even though the industry prides itself on the loyalty and devotion of its workers. Okay, that's what he says.
Yeah, okay.
And then 10 seconds later, he says some more stuff. Then he says, the whole process from start to finish operates under an airtight security system. It's a necessary precaution, even though the industry prides itself on the loyalty and devotion of its workers. He repeats himself, Michael. And I don't know if it was an issue with what I watched, but it was like, it's such an obvious mistake. There's only one word change. When he goes from essential precaution, it's changed to necessary precaution.
Oh, see, actually, that's something which I feel like, in my head, I'm like, is that the case? Because it seems very obvious, but then I have been known in the past not to notice obvious things. I will also say, just to call you out, that I had actually already seen the film yesterday, so I haven't seen the film in about 24 hours, because obviously you had to reschedule, which I don't blame you for. But
thanks for not blaming me.
Yeah, but basically it does mean that I'm with things like that, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I can understand why
check.
you wouldn't notice it because you're not a
Yeah.
very noticeable. You forget stuff, things go over your head quite a lot.
Yeah.
But for someone like me, I picked up on it. Like when I was watching it for the first time, I thought, wait, is he just repeating what he just said? And I went back and then I redid it a couple of times. It's like, yeah, he literally repeats himself word for word. I mean, how do you mess that up? Again, unless it's the problem with the actual movie I watched.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try and find a copy of the script.
Okay, well, you go and do that. But yeah, so that was very weird. That they messed up like that, and it's just bizarre. I've never seen that in a movie before, not least like a James Bond movie, which is going to have a lot of, you don't expect a mistake like that.
For a minute, were you expecting that this would be a plot about something happening with time or something?
No, I just thought immediately it was a mistake. So,
wait, can you tell me like the beginning of what you said so I can search
the whole
this?
process from start to finish operates under an airtight security system. Okay. Anyway, so my second nitpick, at the circus casino, this black guy transforms himself into a gorilla to scare the kids.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what I'm nitpicking here, because that kind of stuff I can imagine happening like 50 years ago, but it didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look at this fun thing of this black guy transforming into a gorilla.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I do have an alternative take, which is that actually, in a way, maybe it was kind of like the fact that they picked this one specific person. By the way, I actually also think that it may have been a woman, but don't hold me to that. Anyway, the fact they picked this one specific person maybe means that they don't think that all black people, could credibly be said to turn into a gorilla. They this one woman was the only, so you don't know that they necessarily thought like all black people could. Maybe they were just
what the fuck
this
are
one
you
woman.
talking about?
Well, I'm saying basically it's actually anti-racist to have a specific black person that you think looks like a gorilla. Like, for example, if somebody says like Shaq looks like a gorilla, it's anti-racist because it's like they're implying by saying specifically that Shaq looks like a gorilla that like the average person or the average black person
Okay, but we
doesn't.
don't know who this was just a random black. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get what
it
you're saying. So they should have had Shaq. Because to be honest, that would have been very bad. If they had, wouldn't it be funny if they just had Shaq?
Now, you know what? I would. That would be something if Shaquille O'Neal was in this movie.
Yeah,
Anyway.
He probably still looked as like he does now back then. Anyway.
Oh yeah,
no,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean,
there's the stories. Let me tell you this good story, Michael.
Yes.
When he grew up on a army base in Germany, I believe. And one of the one time, like a commander asked Shaquille. He asked him like when he was young, like, oh, what division are you in? And Shaq said, I'm not in a division. I'm 15 years old. When he was like 6'7", and just like I'm a massive man. But anyway, so let's get into my third nitpick. Sorry, just my third nitpick. The CIA, who have to track Tiffany Case and not let her get away. They apparently have 30 men within this casino, but none at the exit doors or even watching the exit doors. So yeah, the CIA being quite incompetent there. Or maybe that's not a nitpick actually, but anyway. The whole G7, I'm here to check your radiation shields thing when Bond impersonates someone. It's funny, but unfortunately, like it is very unlikely.
Yeah.
And the whole situation could have been avoided if Bond just hadn't of him Bond getting found out. If Bond just doesn't say his name, like and says, "Hey, I'm here from Sector G7," and then when the other guy walks in, they could be like, "Yes, we just had someone in here. You're not needed." I was like, "Oh, must have been a mistake then," and it's all okay. But anyway, as soon as Bond wants to go up to the top of the hotel to see Mr. White, an elevator arrives. When he walks out his window to go upstairs.
Oh yeah.
Of course, yeah. There's an elevator. I'll just hop on there, nice and easy. Doesn't have to wait for like an hour for it to come. But anyway, so. Those are my 5 nitpicks.
By the way, I checked the script online, and yes, it literally it's really interesting because I can't even remember how that looks in the context of how they actually have that not just come across as the most bizarre thing ever, because it literally is, and it's like there's It's really interesting that there's like no gap between the this is literally, I don't know, I won't read it out again because you already read it, but yeah, there's like a line between when he finishes saying it and then when he repeats himself. Bizarre, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it is bizarre. Imagine me, Michael, who had no idea what was going on, seeing that. Imagine how bizarre it must have been for me.
That's true, yeah. I mean, I don't know, am I right? In my head, I'm thinking, did they do kind of a shot of so when he says it the first...
I'll explain. They were shooting, they were shots of these South African miners going into the dentist office.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't actually see him speak. So it's just,
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because in my head, when you were saying it, I was almost thinking that's the image I had in my head of, he says it in person, and then you hear it later on. I mean, I'm almost thinking like if that was supposed to be like a weird, like kind of almost like flashback thing. Like sometimes I know like in a lot of old movies they will have a thing, but like usually it wouldn't be like exactly one after the other. It'd be like a character says something and then later on something happens that's relating to it, and like when you see it you'll like hear the character's voice like say it. Like, you know, I don't know, let's say there's an evil character with a gold tooth, and you know at the beginning of the film the guy will say like there's an evil character with a gold tooth, and then later on you see this character and he has a gold tooth, and then like it like zooms in and goes like and then you hear like just this echoey voice like it's an evil character with a gold tooth, and you're like thank you movie. It's not.
Yeah, they really felt they needed to explain a lot of stuff to the audiences back then. Yeah. Which makes sense. But anyway, so the plot, Michael, of Diamonds Are Forever. There are a lot of diamonds, and they just last forever. That's the plot. So the story has Bond impersonating a diamond smuggler to infiltrate a smuggling ring, and soon uncovering a plot by his old enemy Ernst Stavro Blofeld to use the diamonds to build a space-based laser weapon. Bond has to battle his enemy for one last time to stop the smuggling and stall Blofeld's plan of destroying Washington, D.C. and extorting the world with nuclear supremacy. So he manages to stop Blofeld. And
guess diamonds aren't forever.
Yeah, they're not, are they? Well, that's the thing. They're up in the sky, aren't they?
That's true.
Know? So they kind of are. They're just circling the Earth in the satellite. But yeah, so what do you think of this plot, Mike? I mean, we'll go through it in detail, but first off, I just think it's like a pretty standard James Bond movie.
Yeah, this film, it feels like very it's something about this film. It kind of makes me feel like this film is like the principal inspiration for like the Austin Powers things, because it's like this idea of, I mean, it's literally a space laser. It's freaking laser beams, man. And I think like there's something about it. It feels very James Bond, and it's kind of like you have diamonds, which are like, you know, already a commodity, and it's like you can imagine that somebody would, you know, want diamonds because they're valuable, and yet, you know, because it's James Bond, it's like, no, actually he's using the diamonds to make a space laser, which he's going to, you know, like, and he's going to use the space laser to blow up all the world's nuclear weapons. Like, it feels like, I like how he already has all these diamonds, which are, like I say, valuable, and yet his solution is like, no, we need freaking laser beams. So I like that.
Yeah, no, it is. I did think, obviously we watched GoldenEye, didn't we? And we watched, and that was the first Bond movie we reviewed, and this one as well. It's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's just those two movies, but certainly this movie, like you say, with the laser beam storyline, it's like, oh yeah, Austin Powers definitely was inspired by this. Maybe every Bond movie, Austin Powers takes a little, but from the movies we've watched in detail, obviously I've seen more Bond movies, but from the ones we've watched in detail, it's like, oh yeah, like there's a lot of stuff to take from this if you want to parody it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Also, I think like I don't know, like, I mean, obviously this is when you really see like full on Blofeld with like the little white cat and he's like stroking it, which you know, I mean, that's like a classic thing that's been parodied. So you really, I mean, maybe that's kind of where like in hindsight this film is viewed as so bad, because I feel like I kind of, again, like I say, having seen like a few of the other old Bond films, you know, I don't think they're good, but I didn't like get the impression that I was watching just the genesis of a Bond parody, which I really did with this film. So that's probably why it's viewed more negatively. Yeah,
we'll get into that whole the switch, I guess, from the wacky, when the wacky emitter is turned up, I guess. Yeah. When it is revealed what the diamonds are actually for. But yeah, we'll get into that later in the plot.
They're forever.
Yeah, they are forever.
They nailed it.
Yeah. Oh dear. But anyway, so let's have a look at the start, Michael. I think,
you know what you should do actually at some point in this podcast? You should just randomly repeat yourself. I think that would be a really good meta moment. Just be like, anyway, we'll get on to what the actual crazy moment where it's revealed what the diamonds are for. And then the people listening to it were just like, hold on a minute, they just repeated themselves.
Yeah, whoa, how do they mess up like that? It's such a flawless production normally. Anyway, so everything starts very quickly in this movie. You know, firstly Bond's in Japan, and then he's in a casino.
Yes.
And then he's strangling a half-naked woman who's sunbathing.
Oh, no, this is also parodied by Austin Powers. Literally, like, they have the thing of him, like, running around being like, where's... Oh, and also, you know where else is parodied? Deadpool, where he's like, where's Francis? Do you remember in Deadpool when he's, like, beating up all these people? He's like, where's Francis? Where's Francis? And he, like, is about to run the guy over with a, like, one of those ice buffers.
Why is it parodying Bond?
Well, it's because it's, like, the idea of, like, he just goes all over the place. Like, it's, like, a rapid kind of cutscene of him just being like, where's Blofeld? Where's Blofeld? Like... the pacing of it.
Is that specifically parodying
To
this
me,
movie,
like, I don't
or
know,
it could
I
just
found,
be some funny sequence.
I don't know, Steve, to me, like, I found the specifics of, like, the very quick cuts to places and him just asking the same question of everyone quite
I don't
distinctive.
think that could be, it may be, but I don't think it's
Oh, well,
necessarily
yeah,
parodying
yeah,
this
you're
movie.
probably
But
right.
anyway, yeah, but you're right, it is parodying in Austin Powers, and yeah, then he's in Blofeld's facility all within 2 minutes. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, okay, we're already at the bad guy. Like, it's wild. No thought or time given to pacing. You know, he's
Yeah,
confronting the bad guy
ooh.
already. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon start. Like, we've only got 20 minutes of runtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree with you. Like, the pacing is
Yeah,
just
well,
weird.
it's just at the start. It was just so weird to see.
Hmm.
But yeah, then obviously he kills Blofeld so quickly, and then immediately you're thinking, well, it must not be the actual real Blofeld, otherwise the death wouldn't be set up. Also, or set up so quickly, basically.
Yeah.
Also, he's Blofeld's trying to make people look like him. That's what he's trying to do at this facility.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a shock if it wasn't the real Blofeld
know.
that Bond killed.
It's
It
like
really
barely
wouldn't
even a reveal.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be that surprising, would it? So the problem with the star is it's either, you know, such a short setup for this important guy's death, or that's obviously not actually Blofeld who Bond killed. So yeah, and obviously it is the latter, which again is not that surprising. Anybody who is over the age of 4, I think, could have predicted Blofeld was going to come back. Yeah, for there you go, forever. We should just try and sneak in the word for.
Yeah.
And then you just go ever after every time. That'd be really funny. Anyway, so let's talk about the Diamonds Are Forever song, Michael.
Yes. So, I mean,
A certified banger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kind of like touched on this before we started recording, but I was speculating that this is possibly the most successful Bond song in terms of being popular, completely independent of the film. Because I've actually heard this song on the radio, and I've not heard any other. Like, I've not just heard them randomly turn on like Goldfinger. So yeah, basically, you know, people like the Diamonds Are Forever song.
Diamonds are forever.
And also, I think it's sampled in a rap song, I think.
Oh, of course it is. That's surprising. Well, it would be surprising if it's not, because of course James Bond often deals with glamorous things like gold and of course diamonds, and you know, rapping. You know, you got all that shit in there, obviously. So yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but diamonds are forever, sparkling round my little finger. Unlike men, the diamonds linger. So memorable, Michael.
Yeah, I know. And also, I mean, it's by Shirley Bassey, who's famous. I've heard of her.
She is famous, yes.
Yeah.
She's quite famous, yeah. But yeah, just a really good song. And of course, you wanted to talk about the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, well, you say I wanted to talk about the soundtrack. To be honest, I literally just want to talk about how that song's really famous. Because
so when you said the soundtrack earlier, you meant just this song.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I like to include titles that are a lot No, but I mean, basically, I think it's like significant and of note that in this film, like definitely the most famous thing about it is the song. Like, I think like,
yes,
you know, because I think a lot of people probably like, if you asked them to name a James Bond film, you know, if it was around on Pointless, I think like people would struggle to remember quite a few of them. But I think everybody would remember Diamonds Are Forever, and it's not because of the film; it's because of the song.
Yeah, that could help. I don't know. I always remember From Russia with Love because it's quite a unique title compared to all the other ones which are about gold and dying.
Yeah, that's true.
What is the most typical James Bond movie? No gold to die.
Yeah.
Time for the golden man to die.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, you are right. And yeah, From Russia with Love, that is. Yeah. I mean, also, there's The Spy Who Loved Me, which also has. So actually, you could say love's a bit of a theme too.
Yeah. Yeah, something about it. Anyway, we should get a computer to combine what is the most James Bond. Like this one, No Time to Die. That is such a James Bond
that is true.
title for a movie. Anyway, so let's get into the actual plot now. The song is the best part of the movie. And to be fair, like you could say that's the case with Skyfall. Like Skyfall genuinely may be the best Bond song.
Skyfall.
I know this could be recency bias. I mean, it came out 8 years ago, but you know, could be some recency bias in there, but. I think this one definitely could be at the top of the list.
What even was like the soundtrack for any of the other James Bond films? Like, what was the soundtrack to? Did that guy who's like famous do? I think he's like, is he? I think I know him now because he's not Sam Smith. That's it. I think he did Spectre.
He did do Spectre. You know what? Recently, I watched Spectre, and it's the thing is the issue with that song by Sam Smith is it's not actually the song isn't called like Spectre. I can't, but you know the like Skyfall.
Yeah.
They sing Skyfall. Obviously, they sing Diamonds Are Forever. They don't actually go like he doesn't go like Spectre.
That's the thing, it's
like,
quite difficult to make Spectre. Writings on the Wall is the song.
Yeah, the writings on the wall. That's it. That's what he sings. But it's like, well, that's not
Yeah.
the name of the movie, is it? So how can it be that memorable? But anyway, we'll get into the plot. So Sir Donald Munger, Michael. Okay, I've got a
Yes.
bit of a rant about this to start off with. This is like the the most interesting part of the movie, which is people will barely remember. So, or for me anyway, he's a diamond expert who, of course, brings the case to MI6, and he says to Bond that he owns this diamond mine in South Africa, and the smuggling has increased, and the diamonds aren't on the market. So he is worried that the prices might go down, or he might be subject to blackmail. And I was just very interested that you have this rich business owner who brings, their problem to MI6, and MI6 are like, yeah, we'll deal with it. I mean, of course, it's a crime, diamond smuggling, but surely the South African police should deal with it. And I don't know why it's MI6's concern what goes on with diamond prices. And yeah, I imagine this guy runs an incredibly exploitative business. He says his workers are fairly compensated, but you can tell the colonial days still hang over early Bond. That this is his mission. Make sure this rich white English diamond business owner in South Africa who uses black people working in difficult conditions to get his diamonds, who are of course under apartheid. Make sure he doesn't face the humiliation of losing some money on diamond prices if they flood the market.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not really. I mean, it's kind of funny actually because the film starts off with completely non-world-ending stakes. And then, you're kind of right. Like, what does British intelligence specifically?
Well, I'll get onto that because here's the thing. I'm sure MI6 would try and help him in real life because they are who they are. Yeah, but I think it's a bad choice for a movie that the good guys say we want to root for that they're helping this guy basically. Yeah, and again, like he says, his workers are fairly like how much money is he making off fucking selling diamonds compared to how much he pays?
Also, wasn't Rhodesia happening at this point?
Well, here's the thing: the diamond guy says it will be catastrophic for us if the mining company has to shut down because of the murders and the smuggling, and he also says it would be catastrophic for the government. And
yes.
I assume he means the government of South Africa, of course. And wouldn't that just be awful? If there was catastrophic consequences for the apartheid South African government. Bond in this movie, obviously he's saving the world at the end, but he starts off essentially propping up this apartheid government by helping them stop this diamond smuggling ring. It's just one little line, that he throws at the end. Oh, it'll be catastrophic for the governments, but maybe now it makes sense how this diamond business owner got a meeting with MI6.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how you. Yeah, or if the South African government don't like what's going on, then but Bond's on it, I guess. Yeah, and I'm sure this kind of thing happens in real life, but it's awful that this movie wants me to root for these guys, to succeed. And I so want to see this diamond mine back in operation, so the South African government isn't harmed. So I hope James Bond manages to figure out what's going on, eh?
You're right. I mean, it's definitely, obviously, the funny thing is that, of course, the actual, the film goes on to, actually be well, actually, it's about something important. So it's kind of my suspicion is that they were just well, we've got to have him investigating diamonds. Or, where are the diamonds? South Africa. Which, obviously, I'm not, making excuses. I'm just saying, obviously, the actual, because ultimately, the actual reason why he deals with it in the logic of the film, I guess, is not to help South Africa. It's because, it turns out it's going to be this massive big laser thing. They're why is he going to do it? Oh, to help South Africa.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you had early on, no, we're not actually helping the South African government. That's not our main motivation here. It's because Blofeld wants to use these diamonds to destroy the world or whatever. Then then if that was the case, then the mystery element is gone. And of course, that's quite crucial. A crucial element to this movie. You have that mystery. But at the same time, if that's the motivation, it's just well, that's great, isn't it? That's why I just throw my hands up in the air and say, well, I guess James Bond's got to help apartheid South Africa then. That's his mission today. Stop these diamond smuggling going on. So yeah, the South African government doesn't lose any money, and they can keep everything going smoothly down there. But anyway, so shall we get into what happens in this actual movie now, Michael? That's the setup. So, disguised as a professional smuggler and assassin, Peter Franks, Bond travels to Amsterdam to meet contact Tiffany Case. I do this. There are some elements to Bond movies where you can be cheesy and well, that's stupid. But I don't know. I like the I like him switching his fingerprints. I don't know if it's possible, but that's stuff like that I enjoy. It's like, you're going to pretend to be Peter Franks. Well, we've got who knows in 1971 if you could switch the fingerprints around.
Yeah, I would think it couldn't be too hard because you just need like, I don't know, some gelatin or something. I will say that basically it made me realize what this film is missing, which other films have quite and it was an established thing even before this film came out, which is the gadget scene. And I don't know why they kind of didn't do that here, because it's kind of like obviously I find like in a way the gadget scene a bit more kind of enjoyable, because it's like a lot of the time in a way it's nice to know what the elements in play are before they're revealed, because it's kind of like you obviously know nothing's going to go wrong with James Bond, so it's like, well, when she gets the fingerprints and then it turns out that he's got fake fingerprints, you're like, well, I guess that makes sense, because otherwise he'd be caught.
I'm fine them not setting it up. I'm fine with doing that.
I know, but anyway, I mean, well, I will say that, even outside the context of that film, I like the gadget scene. I like when they go, this suitcase is rigged to explode if somebody taps it 5 times. And you go, and then, later on in the film, when like somebody taps it 4 times, you're like, oh, it's close. Doesn't that happens in GoldenEye with the pen, remember?
I think
it's like he's got a pen, he's like clicking it or something, and it's like, I don't know, he's just like idly clicking it.
I remember. Yeah.
So that's the thing, like that's the stuff that you get to set up when you have the gadget scene. I mean, ultimately, like I say, it's fine. I'm not like annoyed that it wasn't set up beforehand, because like, and also because he's like got a fake identity. It would have annoyed me if like he wasn't being given a fake identity and he just like happened to be set upon, and it's like, oh, he happened to have like fake fingerprints. Isn't that lucky? But yeah, because he's got a fake identity, it makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously he switches his ID with Frank's.
Yes,
and I like that. That's good. I like that.
Oh, and also, I mean, on that note, I don't know if this is maybe jumping ahead, but I liked the whole like thing where she thinks he killed James Bond. Like that was really funny.
No. Again, I was just going to talk about that. That's funny when he's like, "Oh my god, you killed James Bond." It's like, that's good. See, there's some nice stuff there which I enjoyed. So he flies to America, and he goes to this Las Vegas funeral home, and this scene is just wild. Michael, did you think about this scene when you were watching it? Did you understand what was going on?
So he goes to the Las Vegas funeral home. I mean, he was trying to get so basically, I mean, I assume you're referring to the fact that there's like diamonds in the body, and he's going to get the diamonds burnt in the, I was guessing that the funeral directors had to be in on it. Well, I mean, obviously, like, and then it's a real thing.
Obviously,
yeah. But yeah, so like, I mean, it's weird. I'm wondering exactly what you think is like particularly, I mean, I agree it's like a strange thing to have happened, but yeah, what's your specific thoughts?
Think about it, like, obviously Frank's body is cremated and the diamonds are passed on to this smuggler, but Frank's obviously did not plan to take a body from Amsterdam to Las Vegas with the diamonds inside of him, did he? So this whole elaborate diamond laundering, I guess, like funeral home, it's just a happy coincidence. Like this fucking
what was Frank's plan?
Yeah, Blofeld has this funeral specifically for like, oh, if you ever bring a body back while you're smuggling diamonds or anything else for me, this is how, we can use that body to our advantage. We can go to this funeral. Like, it's so weird. And these diamond smugglers just, get to use this facility. I mean, they must love it, right? This elaborate setup and, oh, he's in a better place now. Oh, and it's just like, what the fuck is going? Why is it? It seems so unnecessarily complicated. Just get in like a room with no windows and just get the diamonds out and just like, you don't need like the urn and everything. Like, oh, here's the urn with the diamonds in. Place it like in this specific location instead of just handing it to me, like, and then you going on your way. You need to put it in this little whatever the fuck it's called. Like it's. Yeah, it's like they're all playing this really elaborate game, which just doesn't need to be played at all. So yeah, that's what I thought with it. It was that's why it's quite a wild scene and doesn't really make
I get you.
Sense.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, in my head, it's kind of like, I guess the reason I didn't kind of think about exactly how the sense makes it is because it's kind of like it's very. I mean, it does feel very James Bondy in that like it is completely like. I mean, see, here's the thing. I was thinking like how unnecessary it was. Like I was literally thinking to myself, why do they?
Oh, it's very unnecessary.
Yeah, like why do they need to do this? Like literally, they've got the diamonds. Like I was thinking, okay, they're out of the airport. They have the diamonds now. This isn't that difficult. And yeah, like obviously, I guess it's just like you say, it's kind of the fact they have the urn and all that stuff. It's it's just there for like the spectacle of like, oh look what they're doing. Look at this thing that they're doing. For the film.
It's like they think they're being watched, but I don't know why they think that
they're
because
like, I think I might be in a film series, so we should probably do this in a more interesting way.
Yeah, then just like, okay, here's the diamonds. They're in his pocket. Here you go. Here's my money. Goodbye.
I prefer the use of the crematorium in Return of the Living Dead.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah.
They should have had a scene where the smoke went out over the graveyard and it turned into a zombie film. That would have made it much better.
Oh yeah, that would have been much better. Yeah. But yeah, Spooktober's coming up soon, isn't it? But yeah, it's like yeah, we need to get the diamonds in the urn because that'll I don't know why.
Yeah, it'll look interesting.
It's just it's more interesting. It's more fun if we do it this way. It's quite boring around here.
Yeah,
in this funeral home.
Although actually, also here's a kind of nitpick on that. I actually heard that the way that crematoriums work is that they like basically the bones don't exactly turn to ash. You need to they basically crunch up the bones like as much as not nice. They basically put the bones in a blender because the bones are like carburized and like technically ash, but they still hold their shape, which means that presumably they either had to like I don't know. It just seems weird to me because it means those diamonds.
It seems like this should have been a nitpick, Michael.
Yeah. Sorry, I only just thought of that now.
Material. Anyway. It would have been a very boring nitpick.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a nitpick.
The thing is, that's why I decided to bury it in the middle of our analysis. The thing is, obviously, it needed to be at the crematorium, so you could have the scene of James Bond being put in a coffin and then put in the incinerator, right?
Yes,
because that was an exciting scene.
Yeah, and that's the thing, of course. Mr. Wince and Mr. Kidd, they put him in the cremation oven, but Shady Tree stops the process when he discovers that the diamonds in Frank's body were fakes planted by Bond and the CIA. And of course, Michael, I think this is a good time to talk about Mr. Wince and Mr. Kidd.
Yes, are they gay?
That was literally the first things I put about them was the Americans. Are they gay? quite attractive.
They like hold each other's hands at some like early on actually, like the scene they're introduced.
Oh, do they? Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, quite attractive for a lady. Yeah, and again, this old, I guess, trope, I guess, of the evil people in these action movies are actually gay.
Yeah.
Like that is something that of course went on for a while. It's just because they're never explicit with it, I guess. But that's the thing, if they're explicit with it, audiences don't want to see that.
Yeah.
The evil guys are kissing. No, we can't have any gay people kiss at all, even if they are evil.
Yeah.
So they can only hold hands and say quite attractive for a lady. I'd say one of them is a lot better looking than the other though, because
I think gay guys are like that though. Like sometimes you get like just like with gay guys you get like a really like fat chubby gay guy of like a really like buff kind of gay guy who takes care of himself, and it's like I don't know, apparently they're just not judgmental about these things.
I don't know.
I'm mostly going off Benedict.
But yeah, I think one of them like looks a bit like David Cross, and just with really the weirdest haircut I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, of course, let's talk about their role in the movie, because they're trying to kill people.
They kill so many people.
Yeah. I guess close the deal or close the smuggling ring, because so nobody can trace the smuggling ring. And I did ask myself, well, why is Blofeld doing this? Because this diamond heist, basically, it's one last heist. The scientist, Dr. Metz or whatever, when he gets the final batch of diamonds, he's like, finally, this will be enough to complete the fucking laser thing. And everyone who helped along the way in this smuggling chain is now no longer needed, so they can be killed, I guess, and that's what Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are out to do. But I was just thinking that's their role in this movie, but is that necessary?
Yeah.
When Blofeld is literally holding the world at ransom? Like, everybody knows who he is, and everybody knows why would you try and cover this up if you're just going to expose your plan to the whole fucking world? Like, is there any point in these characters in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that too. Like, I mean, I will say like the characters are kind of interesting, just in that they're kind of creepy. Which again, it's not because they're gay.
Because they're gay.
Yeah, it's independent of the fact they're gay. But no, yeah, the thing is, like, I was literally thinking to myself, like, it seems like, like one, they just kill people, and it seems kind of unnecessary. Just like and also I think it kind of gets almost like, I don't know, like a little bit boring, because it's kind of like you just know that like every single time they see someone, they're just gonna kill them, and it's like there's no tension in a way. Because kind of just that's something not that interesting.
They show up every like 20 minutes, and it's like, all right, they're going to kill someone now, or they're going to almost kill someone, I guess, with Bond in the funeral home. Yeah, but yeah, I do like them. I think they seem fun. They do seem fun. But here's what I don't like. Total Film, I saw this on Wikipedia, listed Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, and Bambi and Thumper, who could forget them, of course, as the first and second worst villains in the Bond series.
First and second worst. That sounds so homophobic. I refuse to believe Bambi and Thumper aren't lesbians, aren't scissor sisters. So with that said, I mean, this is just major homophobia. First and second worst. That's
so I mean, I don't know if you can even call Bambi and Thumper villains. They're
that's
in
true.
the movie for like 2 minutes. But Mr. How are they like they're like you said,
they're really creepy. Yeah. They're like, I mean, I would say
Because
they're
they're
better
gay.
than Blofeld.
Yeah. No, obviously, as you said, they're independent.
Yeah.
What was the phrase you used?
I can't even remember the phrase I used.
You said their creepiness is independent from them being gay.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah. That's that's what we need to say when we make a joke about that.
Being creepy.
Yeah, just to clarify. But of course, yeah. I mean, Blofeld's boring. He's just a typical villain. The typical Bond villain. He is the Bond villain, so maybe it makes sense. But I enjoyed these guys, so no, they're not the worst villains. I refuse to believe it. I refuse. I don't agree. There's actually quite a lot of things about this movie which I don't agree with the critics. At least the critics that I saw on Wikipedia, what they said about the movie. Like the one before with IGN said that this is the third worst Bond movie, which I can't imagine it is, even though you've seen more of the old Bond movies than me. But yeah, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, yeah, decent. Yeah, just a shame that they were coded as gay. So you look back on them and it's like, well, didn't age too well, did it? But yeah, if they just skip out those bits where they hold hands and say quite attractive for a lady, then you've got some really, really solid villains on your hands. And of course, yeah, they die at the end.
Yeah. And honestly, their deaths are pretty cool. Much more satisfying than just being knocked into something with a crane.
Yeah, exactly. Blofeld. Yeah, Blofeld really.
What is his? Oh, left with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, exactly. A nice little quip. Perfect. Yeah. What you want to see. So let's get into the White House Casino then. So of course Wint and Kidd kill Tree and Shady Tree, this 80-year-old comedian. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's when I started to feel like it was really unnecessary.
Well, to be fair, I just want to point out, fucking Shell, whatever they called, the casino manager says to Wint and Kidd, "Oh, Tree is integral to this diamond smuggling chain. Don't kill him." And I'm like, why is this 80-year-old comedian like so important to this diamond smuggling chain? Like, surely whatever job he can do, someone else can do it better. I'm sorry. I don't know why he's why he was in this, but anyway, like maybe he is. So it's not a nitpick. Maybe he's got some connections.
What did you think about his jokes?
Oh yeah, his jokes were really good. Typical boomer humor, as it was.
Something about trying to like the White. He says like Mr. White's lost, and they tried to find him. What does he say? It's like trying to find Mr. White is like trying to find a virgin in I don't know. He says trying to find a.
Well, this is great, Michael.
I wish I could remember what his joke was. It's like it's a really classic one. Anyway.
Yeah, something about a brothel. Maybe I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, I like how would it make sense actually a virgin? Because if he was a virgin, it would be not in a brothel because then it would be easy to find them. So it wouldn't be that. So it'd be something else. But anyway, I like how Bond uses the fake 50k from the Slumber funeral home to bet on the craps.
Yes.
And the casino manager can't say anything because if he says that's fake, then the whole operation could be compromised. Or maybe he doesn't know it's fake. But yeah, that's a clever touch. I like that. And of course, we introduce Michael to Plenty O'Toole. A great name for a male porn star, as Bond kind of alludes to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe not the best name for a Bond girl, or maybe it's because she.
Yeah, why is this film so gay?
Well, or maybe it's because she gets Plenty O'Toole.
Oh yeah, that could be it, actually. Yeah.
She's had Plenty O'Toole. Maybe. Anyway, she goes back to Bond's hotel room with him, and then just gets absolutely yeeted out of the window.
That is really
It's funny. Like, I don't know if it would have been funny if there wasn't a pool down there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It kind of, what it kind of made me think of in Braveheart when what's his face throws the gay guy's boyfriend out the window.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just absolutely. Yeah, this like 50-year-old man yeets this 25-year-old like
sexy
man
gay guy out the window.
Yeah, who's like taller than him and muscular out the window. This was more explainable though, but it's just so funny. Like she's immediately grabbed and it's not like she's tied up; she's just tossed out of the window.
Yeah,
that was funny. So then Bond spends the rest of the night with Tiffany Case, instructing her to retrieve the diamonds at the circus casino. And again, this has to be one of these old-timey movie cliches. I don't know, but it's crazy. This would never be written today because it's crazy how stupid she thinks Bond is.
Yeah.
Yes, you get the rent-a-car and I'll get the diamonds, and I swear I'll join you and not hand them to the next smuggler in this chain. After one night with you, let's make a break for it, shall we? I mean, it's insane that she thinks that's a good plan.
Yeah, why are women always underestimating men? Like, can we talk about the real sexism here?
Or is it the other way around? Because the male writers wrote this, they're underestimating women. That
Yeah.
this would be a plan a woman would come up with. Yeah, this would definitely work. I mean, to be fair, like maybe with men back in the day, I can definitely see like men in the '60s falling for this.
Actually, yeah, but those dames, they sure are easy to fall. I mean, they think that we stupid and we just go along with it.
Yeah, but it seems like such an old movie or old, I don't know, fucking 50-year kind of thing. Oh yeah, like James, obviously James Bond ain't gonna fall for it, but you know, oh yeah, I'll trick this man. Yeah, give me the diamonds and we'll run off together, I swear. But yeah, anyway, so obviously Tiffany gets the diamonds and reneges on her deal and flees, passing the diamonds off to the next smuggler. However, seeing that O'Toole was killed after being mistaken for her, Tiffany changes her mind. Okay, Michael, how did Plenty O'Toole... How did you get to Tiffany's place?
Yeah, I thought that was like really unnecessary. I was just like, seems like they just wanted to bring her back, and they're like, someone's got to die. I'm like, well, we've already introduced this woman, because there's absolutely no reason why. And it's like, I don't know, they could have had something really easily to set that up, you'd think, but no, they're just like, I don't know, just have her be there for some reason.
Yeah, and did she just like ask around? And surely, if it was Wint and Kid who killed Plenty O'Toole, they've been killing everybody else, of course, so you'd assume it would be Wint and Kid.
They wouldn't have come over when she was in her bikini, because so gross to them.
But the thing is, it doesn't really make sense, because they saw Tiffany Case on the plane before, didn't they? Yeah, from Amsterdam to America. So this matters. It's more than a nitpick, as the whole reason Tiffany changes her mind and converts to James Bond's side is because she sees O'Toole in the pool. There's no reason why she would be in the pool. And there's no reason why she'd get to the house. Yeah. No reason why Wint and Kid would kill her.
It seems that they think we must be a fool.
I know.
To have Tiffany Toole in the pool. And I don't think that's cool.
So yeah, that's Plenty O'Toole. That's the last we see of her. But how about the other Bond girl, Michael? Or the Bond girl, I guess, in this movie. Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John. She had originally been offered the part of Plenty O'Toole, but landed the female lead after Sidney Korshak, who assisted the producers in filming in the Las Vegas locations, recommended his client, Jill St. John, who became the first American Bond girl. The first American Bond girl, Michael. How did she do? How did she do?
Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was going to be a rhetorical question. Yeah, she... I mean, you know, like, what's really involved in it, you know? Like, she's fine. I mean, she's kind of, I guess, a bit more plot involved than, like, some other Bond girls. Like, there are Bond girls just, like, he comes across.
From the earlier movies, she's more involved in the plot.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So in the old other movies, a lot of the time he'll literally just be hanging out, and then he'll just come across a girl and be like, you know, I don't know, maybe he's like investigating. She'll be like a waitress or something, and then she just like tags along with him. In this instance, obviously, you know, I suppose actually it's almost like, by the standards, it's almost like empowering, because she's like his boss in some sense. Like, she's kind of the one telling him what to do. So I guess
until she nearly gets killed.
Oh yeah, so yeah, then she
flips.
gets back to her normal place. But
yeah,
I mean, it's. I would say.
Was it empowering?
No, yeah, I would say empowering actually.
Was it empowering when she had the cassette in her bikini?
Oh yeah, that was quite funny actually.
Yeah, was it empowering when to be fair, this was hilarious, when she gets the gun from Bond and she just shoots it and falls off the oil rig.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, that was really yeah, okay, yeah. In terms of her actual performance in the film, yeah, maybe she didn't do a great job, but you know what? She was still a fine-looking woman, and I think that's what matters in these films, right?
That's what matters, and that's the thing. She's the first American Bond. Like, she's basically like all the others. There's not that big a difference, and maybe, you know, she's slightly more involved in the plot than perhaps, you know, just a waitress who tags along with Bond.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still again, it's still, you know, the same old, and yeah, she of course is the last Bond girl that Sean Connery's with. So
yes.
You know, after this movie, we can assume
that
Sean Connery and Tiffany Case just retire together, and then yeah, that's it. That's it. No more fucking secret agent shit from this Sean Connery Bond.
It's like when Harrison Ford marries Mary Ann Ravenwood.
Yeah, it's like that. It's exactly like that.
And then Shia LaBeouf takes over.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the thing. Obviously she's a sex object for James Bond, like usual. Nothing that shocking or different about her, apart from the fact that she's American. So there's something, I guess. But yeah, not one of the. I think remember when we did GoldenEye and we said, this Bond girl, she's different because she actually helps at the end.
Yeah.
This Bond girl, literally, like, Bond has it sorted, switching the cassette tapes. Then she literally like switches them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, just literally worse than worthless.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Everything would have been fine if she wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Tiffany drives Bond to the airport where the diamonds are given to White's casino manager Bert Saxby, who was followed to a remote location. Bond enters the apparent destination of the diamonds, a research laboratory owned by White, where a satellite is being built by Professor Metz, a laser refraction specialist. So at this stage, or beforehand, I guess, this was, in my opinion, an interesting spy thriller with some twists, some that made sense, others that didn't. But overall, I have to say, Michael, I was enjoying the ride and seeing where this chase from Bond ended up. You know, that's the thing. We talked about it before with the wackiness, and this is where the wacky meter gets turned up, I guess. But beforehand, I was like, oh, where are these diamonds going? It's not like, oh, he's got to save the world. Yes, of course. And, you know, it is intriguing what's going on. But then as soon as you see the high-tech stuff, and then especially the moon landing training, I let out a big sigh. There's going to be some stupid evil bad guy, probably Blofeld, of course, and of course it was, who wants to blow up the moon or the Earth, that kind of plot, and that's why he needs the diamonds. Basically, like we're saying, the stuff that's parodied in Austin Powers. And, yeah, I think, obviously, a part of Bond is, you know, the science fiction stuff. You know, that is integral to it on some level, and of course this is incredibly science fiction. Maybe more than the other original movies, but I don't know. I know it's kind of a staple of Bond, but I don't know. I was into the plot, not massively, but you know, I liked it, and then all of that just goes out the window as soon as I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's the fucking laser beam thing.
Yeah,
as you said. Yeah.
Well, what did you think about the scene where the astronaut runs really slowly to intercept James Bond? Remember, he goes into moon landing, and for some reason the astronaut runs slowly as if he's actually on the moon. Did you not find that really hilarious? No, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I do agree with you that, I find the laser stuff dumb. I think part of it is just because it makes the films feel more dated. I think that's one of the reasons, because it's kind of you think about there are kind of old action adventure films which if it's a genuinely kind of well crafted and interesting and intricate and clever mystery,
this is kind of that.
Then it's then it works. The problem is if they start relying on having it be all science fiction-y, and then the science fiction stuff doesn't really hold up because it just seems cheesy and camp, then that kind of causes issues.
Yeah, I guess the fact that it's dated as well does cause issues. But also, to be fair, I watched, like I said, I watched the first half of Spectre recently, and I only watched the first half because after that I got bored. And I'm sorry, I didn't have to review the movie for the channel, so I didn't have to finish it. But the point was, I watched the first half, and I'm like, and I think around that halfway point, you get the sense what Spectre is, and it's it's not even they're an organization that wants to destroy or wants to take over the world, basically, and they're using the security systems from the Nine Eyes thing or whatever to do it. And it's can we just have things be a bit more grounded? Wouldn't that be more interesting? Quantum of Solace, although it's not that great a movie, the bad guy wants to control Bolivia's water supply. And that right there is something that, again, it's not world-ending, but that is inherently interesting because it's just he doesn't want to blow up the world. That kind of thing. And it feels more realistic, obviously. And obviously with this, that isn't the case with a fucking diamond laser going up into space and destroying
that's it. Yeah, it feels less real.
Yeah, it does. It does feel less real. And it just ruins the intrigue and the suspense. Oh, this is what it's for. And yeah, basically, according to Danny Perry, or Perry, whatever, Diamonds Are Forever is one of the most this is a critic, one of the most forgettable movies of the entire Bond series. Yeah, I can say it's just a standard Bond movie, I guess, really. So maybe that means it's forgettable. Until Blofeld's reappearance, we must watch what is no better than a mundane diamond smuggling melodrama.
Oh,
without
so
the spectacle,
critics have no idea.
Without the spectacle we associate with James Bond, the Las Vegas setting isn't exotic enough. There's little humour. Assassins Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wint are similar to characters you'd find on The Avengers, but not nearly as amusing. Well, I don't know about that. I think he means The Avengers the TV series. I don't think he means...
Yeah, I think
the actual Avengers. But yeah, so... Okay, so without the spectacle we associate with James Bond, but the spectacle we associate with James Bond is the problem, surely, because it feels just this... I mean, that's how Austin Powers could parody it because it was so ridiculous. If it wasn't ridiculous, then you couldn't parody it. So surely Daniel Perry, the mere existence of Austin Powers, shows that you're wrong. Because those movies grossed a lot of money because people are like, oh yeah, let's all laugh at the stupid
maybe
shit.
Maybe he thought he was watching an Austin Powers film, and maybe he thinks James Bond is Austin Powers, and he's like, it wasn't very, like the satire only really kicked into gear in the second half, and that's his complaint. I agree with you that like the goofy stuff. I mean, like at best you could say maybe it qualifies as like so goofy that it's entertaining, but certainly like you're not really authentically enjoying the film. And I would say, I would also say it's not really goofy enough to be entertaining.
And what is it? A mundane diamond smuggling melodrama. Like, diamond smuggling is, fine on its own. Why does it need to be
I want to see this guy's review
mundane?
Of Blood Diamond. It's just about diamond smuggling.
Yeah, so I'm glad you agree with me, Michael, here.
No, yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, I don't think, in some sense I'm kind of like, it's not like dramatic for me. It's not as if I thought the first half was like really good and the second half was really bad. I
wouldn't say it's really good, but it was just like good. It was enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, also another issue with the second half is like, I feel like the fact that the first half was a bit more rushed, I feel like, like we already kind of covered, they could have made the first half a bit slower and then made the second half go a bit faster. If we're going to have this laser beam stuff, let's not have it take up half the film. But
I disagree.
Okay. You think it should have more laser beam stuff?
Well, the thing is, if you're introducing this bigger concept, but I guess we talked about it in GoldenEye as well, when, this guy wants an EMP to destroy London, which is just like tacked on 5 minutes at the end. It's like, we know it's a Bond villain and all that. We know he's going to do that, so we don't need to focus too much time on that. But here, again, I don't know why I felt differently, but it was like, well, I don't know, all the implications from this, laser beam that's going to destroy, destroy nuclear arsenals, and, he's holding the governments of Earth to ransom, all that stuff. I don't know, it just seemed quite interesting, I guess. And then you've got the Doctor who wants, like, world peace. That's why he was doing it. But yeah, basically, all of that seems kind of more. It just seemed like something that big, something that expansive. Doesn't it feel weird that it's like 15 minutes at the end? This is like something which is that.
Oh yeah, I kind of get you. Yeah.
It's like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. You're kind of right. I think maybe in a way, like actually, knowing what the threat is from the beginning would probably help some of these films feel a bit more kind of better. In general.
But then you ruin the mystery.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you got to balance it, I guess. Yeah. But I don't think the balance was that good here. But anyway, so we'll continue on with the plot. But very convenient how the CIA and Bond, so Bond obviously he knows what's happening with the diamonds, or he knows Mr. White is doing some bad stuff, and he has evidence to prove that, and so did the CIA. He's been smuggling diamonds, but Washington DC is like, nah, let's not confront him. So that means, of course, Bond has to do it by himself. So that's very convenient. And he confronts White alone, but of course, Michael, it's not Mr. White or whatever. It's Blofeld. He's not dead, and he has replaced White. The duplication technology he was working on right at the beginning of the movie meant that James Bond did not actually kill him. Wow, what a twist, eh?
It's bizarre, yeah. Like, I mean, the funny thing is, I was actually thinking when I was watching it, I was like, thinking to myself, like, this can't be all there is. Like, I was thinking to myself, they've introduced this, like, face-swapping technology. There's so much in the way of, like, an opportunity for a twist. Like, here's the thing, like, I was actually thinking there was a possibility when they found Mr. White. I was like, I wonder if Mr. White's going to actually be somebody else. Like, there's going to be something going on there. Because I was like, it can't just be, like, the only twist they have with this face-swapping thing. It feels like the face-swapping thing feels so bizarre. Because, like, even when they have the double, he gets shot in the same scene that he's introduced. And also, by the way, like, James Bond so easily could have guessed correctly. Like, he had a 50-50 chance.
I was going to talk about that in a bit.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, just overall, I guess what I'm saying is, like, the whole doubles thing is just so weird in terms of, like, everything about how it's introduced and the idea that it's supposed to be, like, an interesting development.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, like, that they introduced this concept, like, face doubling or face duplication technology. So this is the concept. You can make anybody look like, well, of course, Blofeld, who's the main villain. Is it used in an interesting way in this movie, this concept? The answer is pretty clearly, from my point of view, no.
Yeah.
It isn't used very well, because at the start, he kills what he thinks is Blofeld. Oh, it's not actually Blofeld. Who could have guessed? And so the real Blofeld's still alive. And then he has, of course, a double, and Bond shoots one of them. Oh, it's not the real Blofeld. Oh, and that's it. That's all this concept comes to. You think something like, why was it even in the movie? Why was this concept even in the movie? Michael, tell me.
Oh.
Was it so audiences could think that Blofeld was dead? So then the twist is like, he's still alive. But as we've explained, that twist is so fucking obvious if you introduce the concept of this technology. So I don't know what point this had in the movie, this technology.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like, in a way, like early on in James Bond, literally their strategy was just have things in the movie, and that makes it entertaining. Like, I don't know, it seems mean, but I genuinely think, like, sometimes with some of these films, you get the impression it was just like, they're like, well, if we have this thing, then that's a thing that's in the movie, and a movie is supposed to have things in it. And they don't really think about, like, how to weave these aspects into the film in, like, a really kind of clever way.
Wouldn't it be great if Walter White was like somewhat... Walter White... His name isn't Walter White, is it? What's his name?
I don't know. Did I actually write his name down? Willard White.
Willard White, that's it. Wouldn't it be great if Willard White, like you said, I didn't think of this, but that'd be great if Willard White wasn't actually the real Willard White, and it was somebody else. And the face swapping technology, he was in this mansion, but it wasn't actually him. I don't know how that played into the plot. You'd have to think about it more, of course. But yeah, like, just use this concept for more than, oh, you thought you killed Blofeld at the start? No, you didn't. And then he's sitting, like, Bond. I'm pretty sure this movie, this whole concept could have, just been thrown in the bin, and you could have still had the same movie. Just maybe Blofeld gets away from Bond at the start of the movie instead of killing him. And then you don't need the duplication or the double in the scene where Bond goes up and confronts Blofeld.
Yeah.
You don't.
You very much don't need him.
Yeah, you don't need him. He's just like, he shoots him. Just, there's no advantage of having him. Like, why? It's not. Yeah, it's totally not necessary. And you were completely correct with, I think, Bond just threw some stuff in. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if you had face duplication? Wouldn't that be an interesting concept? And let's not actually think about how to use it well, and how it doesn't actually add anything to the movie either. And it's just very disappointing, Michael, basically. And I was sure when they introduced that at the start, when I watched it for the first time, this will have great significance later on.
Yeah,
there'll be some switches, and like maybe one of Bond's one of Bond's helpers would have his face, actually like one of Blofeld's Blofeld's face would actually be put on.
What about he bangs Tiffany Case and then reveals it's Blofeld.
Yeah, it was me who had sex with James.
You're gay, and then
you're gay now, James.
He goes to join Mr. Klimt and Mr. Worst or whatever they're called.
Would you like to join us for an orgy later, James? See, there you go. That's a nice twist. We should have really been in the writers' room for this movie. 50 years ago. But yeah, so that's stupid. That concept is stupid. It's underused and it's annoying. But let's talk about something else that's annoying, Michael. The villain being dumb. Wow, what a shock, eh? In a James Bond movie.
Oh, actually, sorry. If we got to the point where okay, actually, this may be actually where you're at. The bit where he gets buried in the pipes.
Oh yes, literally yes. The villains being dumb, or Blofeld, Mr. Winter, Mr. Kidd just being dumb, just not killing James Bond when they have a chance.
My notes for that were: I refuse to believe that sticking in that pipe was even supposed to kill him.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's talk about Blofeld first, because he has an opportunity to kill Bond when he's, Bond finds himself in this CCTV room, the security room, and of course, instead, he lets Bond walk out. He lets Bond shoot one of his duplicates.
Yeah.
When it could have easily been him. Bond could have picked him to shoot. Again, just so fucking dumb. And then, while he's monologuing to Bond, there's this moment, and Bond still has his gun on him. Yeah. There's this moment where he turns away from Bond, to press something, I don't know, and therefore his gun turns away from Bond as well. And Bond could have easily just killed him because he has his gun, but he doesn't, because I don't know. That wouldn't be a sporting thing to do, would it? Of course, I don't know. It's just so dumb. He's not pointing a gun at you. Fucking shoot him. But of course, like you said previously, Michael, Bond is placed in a pipe by Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wintz, and they don't kill him either. They let him escape. The most frustrating things I think about these Bond movies, we talked about the concept which was underused with the face swapping, but this is it, this is more than anything else which is annoying. So many times Bond can get killed, and they just don't do it. And And he talks about it, I think, earlier on in the Bond movies when they're trying to kill him
Yeah.
like elaborately, and he somehow escapes. It's just put a bullet through his fucking head. We talked about it in GoldenEye, and it's the same thing here. And I know it's like a trope, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
people joke about it, but while you're watching it, it's just like so.
Yeah, I think
so annoying.
it's like the excessiveness of it. That's the thing. Like I feel like one time, it wasn't even with a James Bond film, I mentioned like the idea of, it might have actually been John Wick, like when you're expected to believe that this person has, you know, survived all of these improbable events, and yet even in the small amount of time that the film covers, you see them in multiple situations where they're only saved through good luck. And it's kind of like, that's the thing with James Bond. It's like, he's apparently survived. You think about it, it's kind of reasonable to assume that for every adventure we see, there's other adventures he has been in as well. So it's kind of like, you realize when multiple times in the film you have him being saved by good luck and just getting caught in really stupid ways, it very much means, you know, like I can accept luck sometimes. One time in Batman the Animated Series, he's about to get shot and the guy's gun jams. But the thing is, that doesn't happen every episode. So you're like, there we go, that's fine.
Yeah, just one time's okay, but
yeah,
2 times
everybody gets
annoying.
one.
Yeah, I was doing the Far Cry 3 thing.
Oh, okay.
You know, 1 time it's funny, 2 times it's fucking annoying, okay? And then, how about instead of 2 times, 222 times? It's really fucking annoying how the bad guys don't kill him. Also, not just that they don't kill him, literally Blofeld, you know, he reveals that this cassette tape, you know, this was the fake cassette tape, you know, that that you know, the real one is in the machine which lets us control the satellite.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what does Blofeld do with the fake cassette tape? He just leaves it on his desk.
Yeah. It's so dumb.
Doesn't put it away, and that, of course, again, like maybe he wasn't suspect. Like, well, who the fuck cares? It's a stupid cassette tape. It doesn't matter. And maybe he doesn't suspect that Tiffany Case will betray him. But again, it's just like, just leaves it there. And again, he literally lets Bond press the button to pop the cassette out.
Yes.
To stop the satellite. And then, of course, he asks him to put it back, and Bond switches it around. But of course, Blofeld doesn't know. But the thing is, like, Bond surely could have, when he has the cassette tape, surely he could have just like stamped on it.
Yeah.
Stamped on it, destroyed it, threw out the fucking window into the ocean. Like, and it's so dumb, man. It's like, I don't know. It's such a major issue with these movies, and of course people are like, oh, that's part of the charm. I don't know. I'm not charmed by it. I'm just sitting there getting annoyed by it. But that's the thing, though. Like I said, it's a standard James Bond movie. This happens in every Bond movie. So yeah, it feels like I'm getting too emotional, you know, about attacking this, because it's like, well, have you ever seen James Bond? This happens all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still, nonetheless, it's still irritating. But anyway, of course, Bond raids the lab and uncovers Blofeld's plot to create a secret laser satellite using the diamonds, which was sent into orbit. And with the satellite, Blofeld destroys nuclear weapons in China, the Soviet Union, and the United States, and then proposes an international auction for global nuclear supremacy. And again, I thought this was quite an interesting thing. I mean, like, I'm always intrigued in like real politics stuff. Like, if you go, what are the Russians doing? What are the United States doing? How are they handling this? The conversations. You don't get any of that, which is why I'm like, yeah, again, you don't just have 15 minutes for something that's significant. And yeah, of course, Bond then saves the day with seconds remaining. But did you like the end scene, Michael, when he rams Blofeld into?
It was so disappointing. I don't know. Yeah, like I think a lot of these Bond films have quite disappointing endings. But it's just like there's not even any like forcefulness to it. It's just like bang, bang, bang. It's like it's too easy and it's not satisfying in any way watching him die. You don't even see him die, really. You just see like the thing explode. Not that I'm particularly invested in Blofeld as a villain, but like considering he's supposed to be like the arch enemy, yeah, it's just not a very satisfying death, nor a very satisfying way to defeat his plan.
Does Blofeld blow?
I think he does blow. I think he sucks too.
Yeah, and this of course adds to the I guess fan fiction we created earlier with Blofeld
yes.
being gay with James Bond. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I don't care about Blofeld's death that much, but it was pretty, I don't know, kind of funny just to see Bond like smack him with this crane, you know, into this this building. What a great way to die. And of course, does he ever come back? Well, he comes back in Spectre, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because obviously they've got obviously James Bond's got a whole weird thing going on with the continuity. I think I kind of was looking into it because I was actually, admittedly, the first time I watched this film and I saw him going like, where's Blofeld? I was like, I wonder like what the precedent is with Blofeld, like what other films has he been in? And I think that, literally he wasn't in any other films until, Spectre, where I guess they've kind of rebooted the continuity. I don't know, yeah.
Well, yeah, they definitely have, because, Blofeld, of course, is played by a completely different guy.
Yeah.
So, that would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the James Bond continuity, it's not even worth... Like, I don't even know why they even bothered, like, trying to maintain it.
No, I don't think they have. I mean, what's the fucking point? Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about Sean Connery now, Michael. So that's the end of the plot, basically. Yeah, just standard James Bond stuff. Some irritating things like happened in a normal James Bond movie, concepts which were underused or just thrown in there for the sake of things, and like a good plot, which I think was ruined by the goofy thing, as it were, the thing that can be easily parodied. So that's James Bond for you, and that's Diamonds Are Forever. But Sean Connery, this was his last movie. I think he's a very good Bond. Like, that's the thing. He was the first one. He's the iconic Bond, but he's very good. Like, there's no doubt about it. So sometimes when you have nostalgia, and maybe with these movies there is an element of nostalgia that they're not actually as classic or as good as people remember. But Sean Connery, he holds up. I still think he's probably the best.
Yeah, he just seems so sophisticated. Well, like but I do actually think that he is cool. And I mean, obviously, you could just say he defined the role because of who he is, or like rather because he did the role, he was kind of defining to it. And then you go, oh, he's the classic James Bond. But no, I do think that it's a bit more than that. Like, if it had been another person who began it, you would be like, it just wouldn't feel the same.
He fits so well. It was perfect casting. It really, and again, this is not like nostalgia goggles. Like, oh, wasn't it so good in the old days? Because I think we've shown we don't really agree with that kind of mentality. But I do think he is the best. And with this last role, it was I wonder, because Daniel Craig has said like, oh, I hate being James Bond. I hate it, even though he did one more movie after Spectre, because that's when he said that after Spectre, then he does one more movie. But with this one with Sean Connery, I do wonder whether it's like he just hated it, because you say the same like old lines, you do the same stuff, like it's very repetitive. I imagine. Would there be a point where you just don't enjoy doing this anymore as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, but
like
then
Daniel Craig.
At the same time, did Sean Connery even go on to do that much else? Like, I guess he maybe just got tired of acting in general. Because I feel like it's true. I mean, I know he was in Indiana Jones, and obviously
he was in the fucking Rock, Michael.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but what I'm thinking is, I feel like when I say go on to do something else, what I mean is, I know he starred in other films, but I feel like it's kind of like, I think he had a period in the wilderness, as it were. Like, I mean, admittedly, I should probably just check this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying like that he kind of came back as an old person. Having not been in films for a while. In my head, I think that's true, so maybe it is.
Yeah, I know, I think so. And of course, he's he died, of course, last year, like we said. So he was very good, and of course he slaps a woman in this movie. Yeah, which is true to his philosophy, of course.
No, exactly. No, I think he does. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's kind of like when he does slap women, he does it in kind of like more of like he just doesn't care kind of way, which is, I think, if you're going to slap a woman, that's the right attitude to have, rather than like it's more like he's just like, I just can't be dealing with your crap slap, rather than I don't think he gets his jollies off on it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, thank you for defending Sean Connery.
Yeah, I just think like he doesn't seem to be like oh, I just love doing it. It's more just like, you know what, this is the quickest way to solve a situation. It's like when Batman punches Margot Robbie.
Okay, that's a good comparison. Of course, Margot Robbie is going to be the next Bond, so some nice parallels there. So just one last word on this movie before we conclude. The action, Michael, of course, central to a James Bond movie. I like the Vegas car chase scene. Yeah, I think the Vegas car chase scene was good. It was interesting because you never see a car chase like that today, with Bond just like tricking people into the pile-up. So it was good. I don't know why he goes back to go past the original car, because he fools all these like police cars, and then he just goes right back to the one which pulled him over to start with. But anyway, that's good. The moon buggy scene, which apparently some people didn't like, I thought it was fine, because I like it how the cars couldn't keep up in the moon buggy. I was like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense how he's getting away from the bad guys, because he's in this very specific vehicle. And I do like the bit where he traps the guy's hand. Right at the start of the right at the start, when he reaches into his pocket and it's actually like a fucking mousetrap. Yeah, that's good. Although the other guard who has a gun just runs over to him instead of shooting him. and Bond kicks him out of the way. So yeah,
Yeah.
And I think some of the action, the car chase scenes, quite good. The rest of the action, it's just typical James Bond stuff, really, not that great. But just what you expect, basically. That's all I have to say. Do you want to conclude now, Michael?
Yeah. So this film, also these films, I think in a way, like, I will say that most of the James Bond films, I think kind of by era, there's like similarities between them. And in this case, I'd say this film seems to be in keeping with the other like 60s, 70s kind of films I've seen. And I think it's just got a lot of the same issues that are common to it. Like, obviously, kind of already touched on the fact that James Bond, the amount of times he gets captured in stupid ways and then doesn't die because of stupid actions from the villains, kind of just fails to suspend your disbelief. The fact that villains don't really feel particularly threatening, except for, ironically, the two people who are apparently the worst villains, who are actually kind of interesting. But yeah, like, overall, it's just if you can't get invested in the plot because it's just impossible to take it seriously, and the villains aren't even that good, that's not good. And then on top of that, like, even just like basic things with the plot, in terms of like structure and also just bringing things back, like obviously the massive missed opportunity was setting up this face swapping thing and then it not being interesting is not particularly good. And overall, there's nothing in this film to be like, oh yeah, let's watch it. I do think actually of the films I've seen, it's the best, so I'm going to give it a low 6, even though we've been quite critical of it. I think like by and large, there are there's like aspects of a good film there. There's just a lot of stupid stuff on top of that. So there's nothing like really great to pick out, but it's kind of like the basic film is okay. It's just there's lots of stupid stuff on top of it.
Okay, well, yeah, I think so. I think there is a lot of stupid stuff on top of this, and the movie, it was, like I said, it was going good until, the wacky, goofy thing about, the diamond space lasers introduced. And yeah, I think, it's something that is probably like your typical classic James Bond movie. Nothing really awful about it compared to the other Bond movies, but I still don't think it's a good movie. Still a lot of issues. But yeah, like it's not the worst thing ever. So I think a 4.5 out of 10 is reasonable for me. I'm going to give 4.5 out of 10. And remember, Michael, why does he do this? He wants to help the South African apartheid government.
Yes.
So that's to knock it down a bit. that's a positive, yeah. Anyway, Michael, so you and I last week guessed what Venom would get.
Yes.
Of course, Let There Be Carnage. And Venom Let There Be Carnage score on Rotten Tomatoes was 59. You guessed 52, I guessed 53. So it was only going to be 1 point difference.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I was closer. You were 7 off and I was 6 off, meaning the gap is now is now 9 between us. It's gone down from 10 to 9. We're now in the single digits, Michael. So, how do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm on a knife edge here, and it's terrifying.
Okay. Well, I think there's only one more thing to do, though, today, of course, which is to guess the No Time to Die.
Yes.
What that Rotten Tomatoes score was, the latest James Bond movie, of course, why we're reviewing Diamonds Are Forever. So, Michael, have you got a score ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's guess then. So, 3, 2, 1.
91.
81.
Oh, there's more than 10 in it. That's interesting.
Okay, so I'm guessing 81.
Sorry, I don't know why I said more than
90.
10. There's 10 in it, which is enough. So if you get it exactly at 80, or lower than 81, you pull ahead.
Yep. I'm guessing 81. You're guessing 91.
Yep.
Because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I'm like, it can't be that good.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's 2 hours and 40, that's going to be.
That is too long.
Well, that's the issue with Spectre. There was just like so much boring shit. It was like, how do I get interested? And I don't think obviously like Spectre was competent enough, so we got a decent Rotten Tomato score. I think it'll be the same with this one. So yeah. 81. I think it's a fair guess. But anyway, so what are we reviewing next week, Mike?
Well, next week we are starting Spooktober, the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is.
And we are going to be looking at, of course, last year we did Halloween. We're back on the slashers again. And we're going to be looking at the modern Halloween, the remake, 2018. And that's because of the release of Halloween Kills, which is, I think, the third in the rebooted franchise. So,
yeah, something like that. So we will be reviewing the 2018 version of Halloween next week. The start of Spooktober is very, very soon. So thank you for listening. We've been selecting and reflecting on Diamonds Are Forever. And join us next week for Halloween 2018, which also seems to be going on forever, that franchise. Who've you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.